Coca-Cola 600 is racing this weekend in Charlotte, and recently Storm Team meteorologist Lawson and Eyewitness News reporter Anna Saunders headed to Charlotte to get a sneak peek of the Charlotte's Motor Speedway. So that'll be taking place Sunday, May 26th at 6 p.m. So here with us is Brandon and Anna. So Brandon, you first have to kind of start with me. This was your childhood dream, right?
Yeah, lifetime dream of mine. We were able to hook up with the NASCAR racing experience about a month ago in late April and go down there and drive a race car. It was one thing I've always wanted to do. I grew up watching racing since I was 4 or 5 years old. I grew up only about 10 minutes away from Charlotte Motor Speedway. So this was, first off, going to the races is one thing, but getting inside the car and actually driving around the racetrack, that's another. So this is something I was really excited to do and really happy I got an opportunity to do. You can see me there putting on the fire suit before we got in the car. And I tell you what, that fire suit is hot. It's like putting on a coat in the middle of summer. We had an 80-degree day that day. There was so much sun, and when you're putting on that coat there, you know, it's definitely adding some layers to the already clothes I had already on. So definitely I don't know, heating you up for sure.
Awesome. And then what people don't see is Anna behind the camera, behind the scenes, and you were actually there watching him suit up, you know, get inside the car. What was that feeling like? Because a lot of times we're covering, you know, breaking news. We're right there with fires and things like that. So was it awesome to kind of get that breath of fresh air and be out there?
Yeah, it was so much fun, and I get so much joy from watching people in their element. Yeah. Brandon was definitely in his element, and I think one of the big things, and you know this, what we can accomplish in terms of our shooting is all based on the access we're given. And they really let me go. They let me out there on the track, in the grass, so I was able to really get out there and really get some cool shots, really up in Brandon's face.
Yeah, NASCAR racing experience, they were really nice. I mean, they allowed her to get out onto the grass of the track and get really exclusive shots. Even on pit road, she was able to get that shot of me getting inside the car there. So they really were extremely nice, and they kept it safe. You know, they had an arm wrapped around her the entire time, right? They kind of wrapped their arm around.
Yeah, sort of guide me. I couldn't go to the grass without them sort of helping me over there, because cars are moving at all different speeds, all different times. So everybody's pitting at different times, so it's a little chaotic, but it was a lot of fun.
This is really cool, though, because this is stuff that people don't see, you know? Right. They don't see this aspect. They see the final piece of it, you know?
Yeah, and the cool thing is NASCAR racing experience, they help you get into the car and stuff, and, you know, there's so much going on there, because when you first get up the pit road, there's like 6 different cars, but you also have cars that are like driving too, so you kind of see them helping you hook up and helping you get into the car, and also you know, getting the motor even started for you. Funny thing was, when I took off the first few times, I stalled the car out. That's not seen here. I don't want to embarrass myself, but it took me a little bit to get going there. I think it was about 2 or 3 tries. They had to keep starting it up or whatnot because I couldn't get the car into gear. But eventually I did. You can see me get through the gears there, getting around the track. We reached speeds at about, at least I reached speeds at about 150 miles per hour out there on the racetrack, and we were flying. You can see me rocking around in there. The G-forces are intense. I mean, when you're in that car, you're really rocking. You're feeling every bump, and yeah, it's quite the experience. It's the real deal.
So, what did it feel like getting inside of that car? It's a whole different vibe, you know, when you're watching it on TV, but then when you actually have to get inside the car. Was your stomach turning, or what were you feeling like?
Well, I was a little nervous. When I first got in the car, I was nervous because I was like, man, this is getting ready to happen. Yeah. You know, it really hits you. And I was just nervous because I was worried about shifting those gears. I mean, I'm telling you, that was my biggest worry throughout this whole experience was, I'm going to stall the car out, and I did. I did a couple of times. I stalled the car out a couple of times before I could get going. But once I got through the gears, it was funny. In that video clip there you just saw, when I got in the 4th gear, I started smiling because I just knew, that it was set and sail from there. I was going to be just fine, and I was going to be able to really take that in. This is actually the ride along here, so the NASCAR racing experience allowed me to ride in the car first with a professional driver before getting on the track, and there's that smile. I didn't even realize I was smiling like that until I got out of the car.
You're like a little kid right there.
Yeah.
Anna, were you nervous at all watching all of this happen?
I think for me, you know, as a shooter that day, I'm trying to make sure, you know, I cover sports, I've covered, you know, high-speed chases. This is probably the fastest moving object I've ever had to film before. So that's a challenge, just making sure I get the shots needed. But just watching it, once he got going, it's like, okay, he's got this, and just to watch him sort of out there navigating. So what a lot of people might not realize, it's not just, oh, you get in the car and you go by yourself and then the next person goes. Everyone's out there together. So you're sort of out there with other cars, not necessarily to the extent that race car drivers are with these big, long races, but you're out there with probably 6 other people going at different rates of speed, different lanes, so you got to navigate around that. So that did make me nervous, but everything went very smoothly.
That's a good point. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, there's other cars on the track with you as well.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so you're driving around. There's like 5 or 6 other people on the racetrack at that time. And there's a spotter that's actually talking in your ear, letting you know, like, when the professional driver's coming around you, make sure you're low, slow down, let them go by. And then they also let you know about when you're driving, they want you to know, what RPM to be in, like 4,000, 4,200 RPM, 4,400 RPM. So just different things like that.
Man, so if you could kind of talk to your younger self, now that you're watching this and we're editing it, what would you say? Is this like a rewarding moment, or is it kind of a full circle moment?
I'd say it's more a little bit of both. I'd say it's full circle because, I grew up doing, watching racing. I grew up racing online too. I did sim racing where it's like a virtual side of racing. They use a simulator a lot. Real NASCAR drivers, they use a simulator a lot at racetracks. And I would do that a lot as a kid. I would just drive around on the simulator and race when I was young. And we did live streams and stuff like that. And, growing up, watching this and, wanting to be a race car driver growing up and not, achieving that dream, becoming a meteorologist instead, but being able to just walk around in the fire suit that day. And that was actually me right there doing a Facebook Live for our thing there. But you can see, just having that stuff on, before even getting onto the racetrack, it just felt like, everything was just coming together. Like, wow, this is that one moment for me to really have that dream of mine, and that's getting in a race car.
That's really cool, and I can only imagine, suiting up, the weather, the environment, all of that, and especially from your point of view, the shooting aspect, I know we were talking about it earlier, it's a whole different ballgame when you were probably shouldering it, trying to get these good shots, and you're not sure if it's going to be shaky. A lot of people don't see that part, where you go back and you clip it and you're going, oh, that's going to be a great shot, and you go back and it's your hand in it or something.
Well, that's one of the helpful things is he got multiple laps. So it's like, okay, I can get a wide shot of him this time, maybe try to get a close-up next time. I had multiple opportunities to get kind of those good shots and good cutaways.
So they do what? Is it, and let me know if I'm wrong, is it 400? How many laps do they do?
Well, the Coke 600's a 600-mile race, 400 laps
400
around Charlotte
laps.
Motor
That's what I thought.
Speedway. Yeah, it's the longest race they do, and it takes about 5.5 hours. And to give you perspective, I drove from the racetrack for about 16 minutes. And, I felt fatigue. It was definitely hot. When I got out of the car, you could see the back of my fire suit was completely sweated over. It was just wet from all the sweat that I had already taken in from just that long ride out there for the 16 minutes. So it wears you out a little bit. These guys are real athletes.
It probably makes you appreciate, watching it on TV and seeing those athletes. You think, oh, you're behind a car, and it's a whole different ballgame.
Well, that was the thing for me too, because I didn't grow up watching NASCAR like Brandon. I wasn't a NASCAR fan growing up, so I just have gained a whole new respect for those drivers, watching just like the physicality it takes to just keep those cars straight. Just that alone, just keeping them from turning and going into the wall. Like that alone takes a lot of energy out of you. And just the few laps that he did, he was sore, he was exhausted, and that doesn't even compare to what they're about to do on Sunday. So.
Before we wrap this up here, thanks to NASCAR Racing Experience, they put this on and, got me on the track, and they gave us exclusive access too. They gave us everything we needed, from the shots we needed. If she wanted to go on the racetrack, she could go on the racetrack, get a shot of me on the track. They gave us an opportunity to look at the video afterwards of me driving and riding and see if it was okay. And, they made this experience everything. If you ever want to do it, NASCAR Racing Experience, they go to 18 different tracks across the country. As far north as New Hampshire, as far south as Homestead, go out as far west as Las Vegas. They've got it all. So definitely a good opportunity with them, and it's a lot of fun.
And I think both of you showing people the shooting aspect and you getting behind the scenes, I think it shows people that are a little skeptical to get outside their comfort zone that they should. I don't know if I would have been able to get inside the car, but I think shooting it would already make me a little.
And the operations manager said the amount of times he's had people a little apprehensive about getting into the car, he said after they get out of the car, have the time of their life.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to it. So it'll be taking place Sunday, May 26th at 6 p.m.